A very good evening to you. You are watching Newsplus right here on ZTN Prime. I'm Wadzanai Sansole, and these are your headlines. President Emmerson Mnangagwa today launched Zimbabwe's new media policy, emphasizing the need for the media industry to take a leading role in telling the true Zimbabwean story. We shall be unpacking the new policy here on Newsplus. Stay tuned for the latest on the Sabakwe River accident, which claimed 12 lives yesterday, with police releasing names of 8 of the 12 victims of the accident. Police in Gokwe have arrested a woman for allegedly draining blood from a 10-year-old. And in sport, FIFA hand Dynamo's transfer ban. We now take a closer look at the stories making the headlines tonight. Zimbabwe's leader, President Emmerson Mnangagwa, today launched the country's new media policy with a call to action for media practitioners to take the lead in rebranding Zimbabwe positively. The new media policy aims to promote local content, improve the country's international image, and provide a framework for the media to operate effectively. Our correspondent Sharon Munjenjama was at State House.
The time has come for the world to hear Zimbabwe's story from the horse's mouth. These were the words of President Mnangagwa as he launched the new media policy at State House this Wednesday. Addressing government officials, legislators, media practitioners and other stakeholders, President Mnangagwa challenged journalists and content creators to drive a narrative that encourages the world to view Zimbabwe in a positive light. He emphasized that there is no room for material that disparages Zimbabwe and its people.
I challenge the media fraternity, along with other stakeholders, to scale up our ongoing quest to shape a positive image about our beloved motherland, Zimbabwe. We have no other but the Zimbabwe in our hands today.
While Zimbabwe's constitution guarantees freedom of expression, President Mnangagwa emphasized the need for a delicate balance between this freedom and accountability. The new policy aims to strike this balance, providing guiding ethics for responsible and free expression.
Through this policy, my government seeks to ensure protection against the significant ever-looming threats to facts, ethics, diversity, and cultural plurality by the global tech infrastructure.
The new framework also provides for the promotion of locally produced content and the promotion of all 16 national languages. It also aims to transform Zimbabwe's media landscape through the full implementation of constitutional provisions that support this goal.
Also, this policy document has got clear objectives, principles, and pillars which relate to human capital development, the transition from analog to digital, local content generation, heritage-based broadcasting, which also includes the data collection, the broadcasting, the writing in all the 16 languages in terms of the Constitution of Zimbabwe.
While social media has widened opportunities for information dissemination, credible sources often struggle to keep pace. Reputable media houses often find themselves fighting to correct misinformation. William Chikoto, acting Chief Executive Officer for Zimbabwe's largest media house, Zimpepa, says he hopes the blueprint will standardize journalism practices in Zimbabwe.
It covers all the critical areas to deal with diversity, ethics, professionalism, and so on and so forth. So we know that as media houses in different parts of the country, we are now guided by one policy. So we expect that there will be a standard of journalism that will be set up across the country as we are guided by this policy.
The new policy generally aims to rewrite the story of a country that has suffered bad publicity on international platforms for many years. Hope and possibility are very much in the air as Zimbabwe embarks on this new chapter in media and communication. The big question is, will this policy succeed in reshaping the image of the country? For ZTM Prime, I'm Sharon Mjunjema at State House.
Faith Nyaude now unpacks the policy for us to give us a sense of what it means, shining a spotlight on its pillars and objectives.
Now that the Zimbabwe media policy has been launched, let's break it down, looking at why it matters for the country, the media industry, and for you as a consumer of media products. At the core of the policy is the creation of a vibrant, inclusive, and accountable media landscape that reflects who we are as a nation and supports our development goals. The policy is built on 6 strategic pillars, which include economic sustainability, digital transformation and innovation, media development and capacity building, media sovereignty and regulation, access to information and knowledge, and local content promotion. What that means in practice is making media financially viable, pushing forward digital migration, empowering community radio stations and freelancers, regulating fairly, ensuring information reaches everyone, and promoting Zimbabwean stories. Some of the objectives of the policy include defending Zimbabwe's image, the sovereignty and territorial integrity to achieve a strong and converged digital economy. Some of them also include promoting media viability and sustainability. We're also talking about transforming Zimbabwe's media landscape through the development of modern, efficient and sustainable infrastructure. But of course, some of the objectives that are listed here are just a few of the 11 laid out objectives that are in the policy. The policy promotes access to information and digital literacy, and this is especially for the rural and marginalized communities. In this particular regard, once the policy has been fully rolled out, we expect to see expansion on both television and radio coverage. For TV, we're talking about a comprehensive national footprint, reaching more homes in rural and remote areas than ever before, as shown right here on this map. For radio, there is going to be greater FM coverage, improved signal clarity, and reduced interference. Some of the areas that are going to be also affected and helped by that is shown right here on this map. Now, for local media professionals, there are provisions, however, for how it is going to be governed. We're talking about sexual harassment. We're talking about safeguarding issues like sexual harassment, the National Employment Council that is going to be created for the local media workers. So what does this matter to you? Because media doesn't just inform, it shapes how we see ourselves, how we participate in national development, and how our story is told to the world. This policy sets the direction for that.
That was Faith Nyaude unpacking the specifics of the policy for us. Now, for more analysis on this, we are joined by journalism and media lecturer Lazarus Sauti. Good evening, Lazarus. Thank you for joining us here on Newsplus. How do you think the new media policy will strike a balance between freedom for the media and the need for content platform accountability?
Okay, so the new media policy is in line with the Section 61 of the Constitution of Zimbabwe, which provides for freedom of expression and freedom of the media. And when it comes to the new policy, the whole idea is to ring-fence the right to seek, to share, and also to receive ideas, opinions, and information. So in line with accountability, the policy clearly unpacks the issues to do with media diversity, the issues to do with legal frameworks, issues also to do with the training and convergence of media platforms, what we can call the platformization of the news. So what is key in the new policy is that media practitioners should seek, should receive, should share information, and they should use that information as a public good to promote sustainable development in Zimbabwe.
So in what ways does this new policy factor in emergence of digital media, and how does it address the place of artificial intelligence and its impact on the mainstream media industry?
The new policy talks about the convergence in terms of media platforms, that is the relationship or the link between traditional media print media, electronic, as well as digital media. And when it comes to these platforms, there is a close relationship, especially in terms of gathering news, sharing news, as well as sorting that news. And when it comes to artificial intelligence, media practitioners across the platforms should be well versed with new media technologies, well versed with innovations and development in the media sector, and use artificial intelligence responsibly in the sense that we should not use artificial intelligence to harm citizens, but we should use it to gather data, to analyze it, as well as to complement journalistic growth. We have also, as media practitioners, guided by the new policy, safeguard the interest of the community, safeguarding it in terms of protecting members of the community from social ills that can be pushed through new media technologies. Hate speech is one good example. We have to ensure that the language that is used is conflict sensitive. It is promoting unity, social cohesion, healing, and forgiveness in this country.
Now, Lazarus, the president also underscored the immediate setting up of a content creation hub. In what ways do you think this will empower content creators to produce high-quality content?
Content creators are key actors in the media landscape here in Zimbabwe. They play a very crucial role of supporting legacy media, especially when it comes to content production, when it comes to content sharing, when it comes to coming up with innovative ways of disseminating information. They also play a very crucial role in terms of promoting cultural sensitive information to a certain extent or to some extent. So the creation of content hubs is key, especially when it comes to empowering content creators as peripheral actors in the media ecology. We need properly trained content creators who are conscious of the need to safeguard the interest of the public. When it comes to public interest, you realize that it is a multi-stakeholder task. Everyone in this country should play his or her role, especially when it comes to sharing ideas that stimulate development. The most important thing now is training. We really need to invest in training our content creators. We also need to invest in training our mainstream media practitioners so that they can have convergence of ideas. They can sit on the same table, work towards the common good of this country, that is stimulating sustainable development, peace and security in Zimbabwe.
Thank you very much for sharing your insight with us. Appreciate your time. That was Lazarus Sauti, a journalism and media lecturer, giving us his analysis of the country's new media policy. Now, on a sad note, President Emmerson Mnangagwa has sent a condolence message to the families of the 12 people who died when a fuel tanker sideswiped a 2-ton truck coming from the opposite direction before colliding head-on with a Nissan Advan at the 200-kilometer peg along the Harare-Bulawayo Road on Tuesday morning. 2 other people were injured in the horrific crash, which occurred at the Sebakwe River near Kwekwe. Among the deceased were 6 men and 6 women. In his condolence message, President Mnangagwa said, "I learned with a very heavy heart of the horrific traffic collision yesterday in Midlands, which claimed 12 innocent lives. My heart goes out to families that have lost their loved ones in this horrific accident. Equally, I wish a speedy recovery to all those nursing injuries from the incident." Meanwhile, police identified 8 of the 12 victims who died in the accident, and bodies of 4 victims are yet to be identified. Here are the names of the 8 who were identified by their next of kin. Now we'll give you updates on the interviews for aspiring Labour Court judges shortly.
The future is now and is powered by artificial intelligence. Zim Papers proudly presents the 2025 AI Conference, a groundbreaking event happening on the 30th of May in Mutare at Manicaland State University of Applied Sciences. Join leading AI experts, researchers, innovators, and institutions already applying artificial intelligence to solve real-world challenges, from media and agriculture to education and finance. Whether you are a business stakeholder, a tech enthusiast, a student, or simply curious about how AI is changing our world, this conference is for you. Don't miss this opportunity to learn, connect, and be part of Zimbabwe's digital future. For marketing and exhibition, contact Tendai Mberibe on 0772 671 488. Zim Papers AI Conference 2025. Advancing innovation, empowering Zimbabwe.
Stuck on you. Ooh, obsessed with you. I'm obsessed.
With Showmax, your favorite characters now follow you anywhere. Download it today and watch the best in local, international, and everything in between.
You're watching Wednesday's edition of Newsplus, and we're coming to you live from Harare. Now, the African Development Bank Group is set for a leadership transition as incumbent President Dr. Akinwumi Adesina prepares to step down after 2 terms. 5 candidates from across Africa are vying for the top spot in the election, with the winner set to assume office in September. The candidates running this year include Dr. Samuel Munzele Mayimbo of Zambia, Wajabulile Swazi Chabalala from South Africa, Senegalese Hot Amadou, Tassidi Old from Mauritania, and Chadian Toli Abbas Mahamat. The president will be elected by the bank's board of governors, comprising representatives from member states. Zetian caught up with one of the frontrunners in the election.
Of course. I'm pushing very, very hard. I think I have a very compelling vision for the bank and for the continent, and I think it will resonate with the shareholders of the bank. Of course, and I think I'm the best candidate to deal with the uncertain times. Knowing the organization, I can actually get in there and hit the ground running. And this is important, as you rightly point out, during these complicated times. So it's very important. I am the only female candidate. There have been other women candidates before, but obviously I'm very proud to represent women all over the continent, and they've been very, very supportive throughout the campaign, and I hope that support will carry me over the way.
Moving on, 90 farmers in Mudzi district were honored on Saturday for their efforts in growing small grains. The farmers received various farming implements to use in their fields. This comes as the government is pushing for the farming of small grains in drought-prone areas. Faith Nyade attended the field day and awards ceremony and filed this report.
Under the blazing sun in Mudzi West, joy and a strong sense of accomplishment was the order of the day, as 90 farmers were honored for leading the shift to small grains farming. From ox-drawn cars to wheelbarrows and farming tools, each prize celebrated a farmer's resilience and aligned with government efforts to promote drought-tolerant crops in dry regions. Some of the crops on show range from millet to sorghum and rapoko, all indigenous to the district.
I wish I would take some of these farmers to my constituency so that they can also encourage people in Gutu South to produce tomatoes, agriculture, horticultural products that I saw here. Fantastic. You look at the type of sorghum that I saw here, I've never seen it in my life. 3 cobs, just 3, 1 kg.
This event was the brainchild of Mudzi West Member of Parliament, Knowledge Kaitano, who says this is just the beginning of a wider campaign to improve food security and livelihoods in the district.
The genesis of many shows that are coming through in the future. But for a start, I think as a constituency we did quite well in terms of attendance, in terms of the quality of farming produce that we have witnessed.
Women and the youth claim the majority of the awards. For them, the recognition goes beyond the prize. It is a symbol of respect.
Ndiri kufara kuti isusu vechidiki nzara ikapera mumba mabopoto anoita mashoma inini baba tinowirirana zvakanaka vana vachikura mune zvakanaka tinotengesawo tichiendesa vana kuchikoro chibhadhirawo maschool fees.
Takutombochinja zvechibage tisina basa nazvezvo takutongorimawo mhunga nemashawa kuti life yedu ipfuurire mberi zvechibage totozvinzwirawo manext.
As Moody sets the tone for future agricultural developments in dry regions, officials hope this model will spread and inspire change in other communities. From Moody West, reporting for ZTN Prime, I'm Faith Nyaude.
We now take a look at issues to do with the environment. For years now, a silent crisis has been unfolding across Zimbabwe's vital water bodies. A green blanket, not of natural vegetation, but of hostile alien weeds, has been suffocating dams and lakes, threatening livelihoods and disrupting ecosystems. Our correspondent, Thesias Shambare, brings us a story of hope and a quiet scientific revolution that is turning the tide.
For years, Chinyika Dam in Goromonzi resembled a vast unsettling carpet of Kariba weed, a thick impenetrable mat that choked out life beneath, leaving an eerie silence and a sickly stagnant odor.
This problem, we started noticing it in 2018, 2019. And then we approached, I think it was Zinwa.
This despair is echoed countrywide. Hostile weeds like Kariba weed and water hyacinth have also become a problem. They block sunlight, deplete oxygen, and disrupt everything from irrigation for farmers.
So we were happy when we were given fish. So this dam was one of the dams where we were supposed to put some fish in here. So because of the weed, it was also a challenge.
The problem is compounded by pollution. Just late last year, Lake Chivero experienced a devastating death of fish and other aquatic life due to raw sewage discharge. This untreated waste acts as a catalyst, creating a breeding ground for these weeds to grow rapidly. But now, a quiet scientific revolution led by the Plant Protection Research Institute and independent researchers is underway. The battle is being fought not with harsh chemicals, but with an elegant, natural solution, a biological control.
We do mass rearing of biological control agents, meaning that we multiply our biological control agents. Here we are doing biological control of invasive alien species.
So what's the best way forward? You can use insects. Insects, they are self-perpetuating, right? You don't need to go in and introduce over and over again, so that reduces costs. It's also environmentally friendly.
The results are undeniable. At Chinyika Dam, where despair once reigned, the weevils have achieved 100% destruction of the Kariba weed.
We are very happy with this development whereby we reclaimed the dam, which is going to improve the productivity, agricultural productivity.
Now, the same hope is spreading to Lake Chivero, a critical water source for Harare. The weeds are already showing signs of dying.
We support both the agricultural production process and at the same time improving the ecosystem well-being.
And still on our local stories, when boredom becomes a bad habit, addiction can just be a step away. This is a story of drugs and substance abuse. But at the center of it all is idleness, and part of the burden is the resulting mental illness. Tonight, we take you to Manicaland, where a community health research lobby group has stepped in to keep Zimbabwe's youth on the right path. Francisca Msheche highlights the ground covered so far and explains why, more than any other time, a multi-sectoral approach is a must.
The challenge of drug and substance abuse is growing in Rusape. Meet Moses, a Rusape young man who has also not been spared by the vice in this community.
Dambudziko rakawandisa masisita angu
wakofanirwa wari kushandisa guka wari kubata vanhu ngunzu ndiwo vane marobhari vane machichichichi mumabhawa machatofariba mozofanira vacho vari kurowa and vanongova energy hawarari.
This is a challenge destroying many communities in the country. Norman Magaya from Vengere in the same area says idleness has been a huge factor.
Dambudziko ratinaro panyaya dzemadrugs idzi ndere tunhu tunonzi tumbwa tunhu turi kumwiwa nemazera ese kuno kwaunokati kamukozodo kutangira vanhu vachangobva kuchikoro vaya maschool leavers kuenda kumaeji mahombe and rototori nemacases evanhu vari kufa nato vanotumwa vacho havanetsi kuidentify vanoita tumatama.
In the face of this growing menace, Zimbabwe Community Health Intervention Research Zichire has partnered with the National AIDS Council in education and awareness campaigns. The awareness covers comprehensive sexuality, education, and drug and substance abuse. Through the use of roadshows using entertainment to lure young people, the organizations hope the message will help achieve positive results.
We're covering all the provinces in Zimbabwe, and we're trying to make sure that we reach each and every corner of the country. So there is a rising case of drug and substance use amongst adolescent boys and young men, and we're focused on spreading the word and teaching them on the effects of drug and substance use.
To enhance these efforts, mobile health services focused on SRHR and drug-related issues will provide community-based education and services while partnering with other organizations working in sexual reproductive health rights.
We want the youth, the young generation in Nyamajura to have a healthy life as a commandate of we are with different stakeholders in the National AIDS Council, Zichire, and other related CSOs with the commandate to shun drugs and child marriages so that the youth in here in this community will have a healthy lifestyle.
Only time will tell how much such initiatives will help in addressing this national crisis. But reality is, it's a mammoth task that requires a multi-sectoral approach. For ZTN Prime, I am Francisca Msheche.
That was a story on Zimbabwe's battle with drug abuse. Now, still on our local stories, women's rights group the Girls and Women Empowerment Network has launched the Father-Daughter Dialogue, an initiative aimed at fighting sexual exploitation and child marriages. Speaking at the launch in Seket District, the group's gender officer, Cloris Mashonga, said the initiative also seeks to break cultural barriers and encourage fathers to have conversations with their daughters and create safe spaces for the girl child. Child marriages are prevalent in the area, and this initiative is one of the ways of fighting this menace.
Father-daughter dialogue is where we call out community members, fathers come with their daughters, and then we have a chance with them to discuss issues of unpaid care work, meaning the shared work at the household, equal opportunities between boys and girls, and also issues of fathers being champions of gender equality, and also fathers making sure they protect their children from harm or sexual abuse. It's a platform where daughters and fathers can come together, express their thoughts freely, and also a platform where father and daughter can create bonding relationships so that fathers will know and will protect their child from all forms of abuse.
In another story, Prospect Lithium Zimbabwe recently held a culture and sports day as part of the Africa Day celebrations, bringing the Goromonzi community together in an effort to promote unity, diversity, and Zimbabwe's rich heritage. Prospect Lithium Zimbabwe's Social Governance Director, Yu Long, said the company's growth and community development highlights increased investment by the Chinese government in the country.
As a Chinese invested company that took roots in Zimbabwe since 2022, PLZ has always upheld the investment philosophy of our parent company, Wayogobot. Wherever we invest, we must contribute to the local community and society, while promoting stable business growth. We actively integrate into our local communities and give back to society.
Now, Chief Chinamora appealed to Zimbabweans to embrace and preserve their cultural practices, highlighting that this is crucial for fostering a strong sense of identity.
Mutsika dzedu tine chikafu chatinodya, chikafu chedu chechinyakare. Tinowanikwa tine sadza rezviyo, sadza remhunga. Tinowanikwa tine nyimo, tine nyemba. Tinowanikwa tine mfushwa. Asi zvese izvi vazhinji vedu hatichatomboziva kuzvidya. Hatichatombokoshesa kuti dura rangu rinofanira kuwanikwa rine chekudya chechinyakare. Kunaka kwakaita chikafu chandiri kutaura ichi ndekwekuti chikafu ichi chine hutano. Asi nekuda kwekutarisa tsika dzevamwe, tave kusiya dzedu tsika, tave kusiya chokudya chedu chakatinakira, tichichiva zvevamwe.
And now on to a rather bizarre story. A 33-year-old Gokwe woman has been sentenced to 2-year imprisonment for draining blood from a 10-year-old juvenile in a suspected case of rituals. This woman, Mavis Sibanda, appeared before a Gokwe magistrate who convicted her of assault and aggravated circumstances. The court heard that Sibanda called the juvenile who was passing by her workplace in Gokwe Center on May 26 and injected her with a needle and drained some blood. She was subsequently arrested before her appearance in court. More in our Crime and Courts update in the following report.
A Harare man, Garikai Chirambadari, has been remanded in custody after he assaulted police officers who were discharged to evict Cloverdale residents. Chirambadari allegedly attacked the police when they tried to disperse him and his accomplices. The police suffered injuries after the attack. He will be back in court on May 29 for bail application. Still at the courts, a Heathcliff man, Watson Kafudza, appeared before a Harare magistrate after he allegedly defrauded his churchmate of $7,450 in a botched residential stand deal. He allegedly sold his residential stand to the complainant, who later found out that he had been duped. Officials from the local government and public works approached him and stopped all developments. Accused was granted $100 United States bail and will return to court on June 27. Now in Wange, a 64-year-old man has been convicted and fined $200 after he assaulted his wife. He risks 3 months in prison if he defaults on payment. He assaulted his wife soon after she had followed him to his girlfriend's house. The accused got offended and struck her. For such TN Prime, I'm Kimberly Chimbalanga in Harare.
Ramaphosa rebuffs U.S. white genocide conspiracy claims. That story right ahead.
Stay connected to DSTV this April and May and get all the football finals you want.
You're watching Newsplus right here on ZTN Prime Channel 294 on DSTV. Now, today was the last day of interviews for aspiring Labour Court judges. The interviews were being carried out at the Rainbow Towers, with 2 of the remaining 14 candidates withdrawing from the process, citing personal reasons. This left 12 candidates appearing before the panel. Tafaras Wochwe has the details. We'll give you that story as we go on with the bulletin. Now we take a look at other things happening globally. President Cyril Ramaphosa has rebuffed all the claims of genocide happening in South Africa as he was looking back on his meeting that he had with President Trump.
So when I came in, I saw the room going a bit dark. They darkened the room. And for a moment I wondered, what is this? It's happening to me again. Because at that moment, we were seated very nicely, and I was beginning to get into a groove of, interacting with this man. And I suddenly hear him say, no, dim the lights. And I must say, a number of people have said, this was an ambush, this was an ambush. And I was bemused. I was saying, what's happening?
We now give you the Labour Court interviews.
The first of the 12 candidates to be interviewed today was Joseph Masango. Despite an impressive record in his career, his attitude was severely questioned by Chief Justice Malaba. To compound the issues, his performance in the electronic case management system literacy examination left a lot to be desired.
You got 0 in the examination that was testing your proficiency in the use of computers in the judiciary.
Yes, Chief Justice. The simple reason is that I have not, of late, since inception of ICAMS, I have not had a matter that required me to use ICAMS.
Mawire John Life Tangamirai was second to appear before the panelists. Tangamirai has over the years been closely acquainted with the players in the labour sector. Now that he is an aspiring judge of the Labour Court, the Commission expressed concerns over his ability to be impartial.
How are you going to maintain impartiality and also avoid conflict of interest in the event that you become a judge of the Labour Court?
I have interacted with a lot of players in the labour field, and that will not affect my work at all, because assuming I'm appointed to the bench, all relations with those players will cease.
Another candidate, Mupeiwa Noel, was under the course from the Commission. The panel cast a spotlight on Noel's 7 years as a registered legal practitioner.
So you have only been in this exposure for 7 years, which is the minimum requirement. Others have been for 20 years.
As I said, that might explain the inadequacies noted by the judge, but I intend to improve, as I'm always trying to do, to improve on my knowledge of the law.
The first female candidate of the day was Mupindu Sandra, but the panel had issues with how she responded to some of their questions.
Just assure me you're not reading from anything there?
No, I'm not reading from anything. I just wrote the question.
Can you just check?
Low clearance rate and dismal performance in the pre-interview examinations were laid bare with statistics to prove it. Sandra says the figures are contextual.
There's been a very grave concern pertaining to your rate of clearance, whereas other magistrates in similar position as yourself have been doing more than 50 cases. For this quarter, you only did 3 trials per month. I completed 3 trials in that month. Is because the prosecutor who is prosecuting in my court was on vacation leave, or study leave for 2 weeks.
and I did not have a permanent prosecutor in my court. And that is the reason why I was not able to complete more cases in the month of April.
Everything was seemingly going well for Sandra until she had to answer Commissioner Moyo's fiery questions. Chief Justice Malaba had issues with Sandra Mpindu's performance as a regional magistrate. She explained herself, but the Chief Justice wasn't impressed.
In other words, you performed amongst the poorest performers. You got 0 on the labor law. You generally were in 39%, others were in the 79. We had some yesterday who were 79. So you are far, far way below. That's what data tells us, isn't it?
7 other candidates were interviewed by the commission led by Chief Justice Malaba, flanked by a panel of 10 commissioners. After a rigorous selection process, the panel will submit 8 names from these interviews to the president for consideration. Tafara Sabochiwe for ZTN Prime.
Nestle injects $7 million to boost cereal output by 35%. That story right ahead.
Harare. Tune into the beat.
Capitalk 100.4 FM, your source for news, business, sports, fashion, and more.
Experience the pulse of Harare's culture and lifestyle.
Capitalk 100.4 FM, Harare's top radio station.
Join the conversation with Zimbabwe's top personalities.
Subscribe now for fresh and infotainment content daily.
Capital 100.4 FM, Harare's heartbeat.
Didn't graduate? I guess I blew it.
You couldn't advise him anything. He would just look at you and say, so who do you think you are?
We were just like really spoiled.
And then they just give me the receipt and I'd pay.
The guy walks in one day and then he says that he wants to make a movie.
He was blowing the money.
There was just like this habit that he had where as soon as he got money, it was gone.
I just didn't have the skills or the experience.
This money, I could see it disappear so fast.
Captain Wally J's about to take you to boot camp.
It's the riveting science and tech show that keeps you up to date with the hottest gizmos on the block and revealing the illustrious and innovative visionaries in Zimbabwe. So much to see, you'll keep swiping.
This cherry red beauty is the Dairy Auto M7 mini electric car.
They've designed our brute force incubator board.
Look at what we've got here.
Solar powered scarecrow was part of the project that I was supposed to complete.
Catch Swipe every Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. on ZTN Prime, DSTV channel 294. Get the picture?
Nestle Zimbabwe has commissioned a $7 million cereal manufacturing dryer at its Harare factory as part of a major production expansion drive. The investment is expected to increase production capacity by 35% and grow export volumes by 25%.
The $7 million investment marks a major milestone in Nestle Zimbabwe's production strategy. The new cereal dryer is part of a broader expansion program aimed at strengthening operational efficiency, meeting rising local demand, and tapping into regional export markets. With the manufacturer using 97% of locally sourced raw materials for the production of its cereal, Industry Minister Ngobizitha Ndlovu encouraged the company to continue capitalizing on local value chain.
Nestle, in their production of Ceravita, are using 97% of locally sourced. This is committed to strengthening backward linkages, encouraging companies like Nestle in Zimbabwe to increase their local sourcing of raw materials, and maybe they are already doing very well in this regard.
Zimbabwe remains the lead producer of Nestle's flagship cereal brand, Ceravita, solidifying its strategic role in the company's regional supply chain. The local operation currently supplies the bulk of the Southern African market and is now positioning itself to penetrate key markets in the eastern region. With the latest capex, export volumes are projected to grow by 25%.
And then today, with the commissioning of the roller dryer and then the capacity increase that we're going to get, we are expecting that this export goes beyond 25% in terms of growth. Now, we are expanding in terms of different markets. So we export currently to Zambia, we export to Malawi, we export to Mozambique, we export to Botswana. We have some export to South Africa as well. And as well, we're looking for the East and Horn of Africa, where we are targeting Tanzania and then Ethiopia at this point of time.
The investment comes amid renewed interest in Zimbabwe's agro-processing potential, with industry players calling for supportive policy frameworks to boost competitiveness and market access. By Zimbabwe General Manager Alois Buruta says the move aligns with the national development goals focused on strengthening local value chains.
Now, what excites us even more is the fact that 97% of the raw materials that are going into the production of Ceravita here at Nestle is procured locally. And this fits in well with the government policy of promoting the local content.
Zimbabwe is one of Nestle's priority manufacturers, with an average monthly output of 730 tons. The implementation of the fourth roller dryer will complement other existing 3 dryers and enhance cereal production by 35%. The new growth strategy will enable the company's capacity to efficiently supply both their local and regional market.
It is a very important one of our 23 priority countries. At the moment, we are really deploying very advanced growth strategy across the region. And in particular, today is very special because it's the coming together of many years of work as we look at expanding our roller dryer 4 capacity, particularly for our Ceravita brand.
The newly commissioned dryer will not only expand the manufacturing capacity, but it will promote the local value chain, which will ultimately future-proof the cereal business in Zimbabwe and facilitate economic enhancement. For ZTM Prime, I am Sitachisiwe Gwaza.
The Engineering, Iron and Steel Association of Zimbabwe has unveiled an ambitious vision: $6 billion in annual output and 50,000 direct jobs by the year 2030. Speaking today at the ASA's Labour Relations Conference in Harare, ASA's President Chiedza Chigombe said the target signals the sector's renewed commitment to driving Zimbabwe's economic recovery through strategic partnerships, investment and job creation.
By 2030, as ASAs, we aim to generate $6 billion in annual output and directly employ 50,000 people. This vision underscores our commitment to industrial renewal, economic inclusion, and sustainable job creation. And this is how we are beginning it. It has to start from somewhere.
Now delivering the keynote address, the National Employment Council, NEC, for the tourism industry CEO, Nomo Nema, called for greater investment in human capital, saying empowered workers are central to national development.
This well-timed conference comes at a time when changing workforce dynamics, technological advancement, and evolving business needs are redefining the modern workplace. As we navigate this complex landscape, it is imperative that HR practitioners are equipped with the skills, knowledges, and abilities to drive organizational success. Hence, this conference runs under the theme Empowering HR for strategic.
Stay tuned to Newsplus for updates on sport still to come. Troubled Dynamos have become the latest local Premier Soccer League side to incur the wrath of the FIFA Disciplinary Committee after the fading Giants were handed a ban from registering players for domestic or international competitions. This emanates from Dynamo's failures to pay outstanding salaries and bonuses to their ex-Ghanaian pair of Emmanuel Pega and Frederick Ansah Botchway. Pega and Botchway had reportedly tried in vain to get Dynamos to settle the outstanding dues before the duo resorted to reporting the matter to FIFA. Pega is owed $8,500 US, while Botchway is owed $10,000 US. Now, Warriors captain Marvelous Nakamba has thrown his weight behind the COSAFA tournament as he believes it gives a number of players an opportunity to prove their worth. Nakamba says the young players have been given an opportunity to play and hopes they will give their all during the tournament.
Yeah, I think for young players it's a great opportunity to play in the COSAFA. I played the COSAFA under 20, I think, when I was 15, 16 or so. So for the young players, I think it's a great opportunity for them. As the coach said, like each and every time, it's an opportunity for players. Like whenever I get the opportunity, and we have a lot of good players here in Zimbabwe. And of course, not everyone will make it, but for those who are going there, I think it's an encouragement for them to give everything, to fight for their careers and to fight for the country. And for me personally, I think COSAFA, it gives hope. Like mostly it's always like local players like who go there and get a chance. So that's when you can showcase yourself and also competing with other countries. I think it's a good idea.
Premiership log leaders, Moors and colourful Scotland clash at Ngoni on Saturday. It's a battle that could bring Norton to a standstill, and it seems to be the beginning of a new chapter for local football. A derby of two teams which don't exist in Zimbabwean history, but two teams which have grabbed enough attention to be counted. Now Mugove Chigada gives us a soft landing into what to expect.
Onto Manenji. Manenji will try!
The stage is set, the tension is in the air, and the drama is about to unfold. Get ready for the new Premiership big clash, Scotland versus Moors. Scotland are a team full of quality, and they never stop knocking.
On to Msona. This is his territory!
Timon Machope is again expected to lead the lines, and if he shows up, he will deliver.
And all they're doing, and it's a great chance! Karma Billiards press! And Machope getting to convert.
They have delivered when it matters, regardless of opposition.
We did highlight this in the first half.
For Moors, it's about the bragging rights, pride, and the glory to remain on top. And it is their never die spirit that is striking.
Kongwari brings it in onto the far I'm sure there's plenty more time to even get it there. Oh, good connection.
This has become their trademark.
Look at that. Far away from Ashley Reyners. It's like a postage stamp goal right into the top corner. Rono Chitia on the edge of the box. Trying to get away from his markers. Chitio still.
Matches pitting these two teams have never been short of drama.
Two players off from Telwan.
Two Dynamo sons, Diraya and Mutasa, have a lot at stake. Diraya is the last coach to win the title, and Mutasa is top of the table now. For Diraya, the battle has also been to meet high expectations.
Of course, if you look at the quality of the opposition that we played, it was a bit difficult for us, but in the end,
and they'll manage their point. And that point gave us confidence getting into this game today.
Lloyd Mutasa's Moors have either been superb or grinding results.
But the good part is from the few chances that we created, we managed to score one, and that made the difference.
They draw level. 90 minutes of heart-stopping action. Two teams that absolutely held nothing back.
It will be explosive, and both teams could bring their A game. Whichever way you look at it, it's a rival that will be with us for a long time. The fans.
How this is shaping up, Martina. And header! It's in!
Didn't see anything.
Look at that. Far away from Ashley Reynolds.
The first edition in the Premiership starts on Saturday. For ZTN Prime, I'm Govech Kada in Harare.
Too much toying around with the ball in the dangerous territory.
Still on sport, Simba Bora registered their second successive win to close down the gap between them and log leaders Moors to just 2 points. The club's fans are delighted by how the team has fared thus far and have thrown their support behind Joe Lupahla and his charges.
Simba so far is the best team Premier League. Apana team inokwanza kupira na bora nge Simba. Simba yakaipa for the meantime. Nikutamba ndikupendi kupewo. Pasa ndikupasewo. Ma coaches ese pantamba Simba ngawe ni mabhuku emanotes. Vadzidze kubva kuna Joe Lupahla. Simba mawani.
Tikuongorora nerigi yacho tikutotora futi. Andika. Kunakirwa nemendosvika vanhu. Tachi kutambwa neSimba Bora. Itache bhaka. Hakuna timu yemuZimbabwe ibhaka. Tungozvisha hedu umwe mastrike ari ngotinetsa zvidi. Tasapa nacho ringonera. Yasiyana neSimba yekudhara. Indo uchi. Yogonera soto. Yosana tori ona mabhana acho. Taritambana wacho. Vamakunika. Vakunika. Yeah. Iteni.
There is optimism among rugby cycles that the Sables have what it takes to qualify for the 2027 Men's World Cup in Australia. But before that can be done, the Sables must first make a huge impact at the 2025 Rugby Africa Cup, which serves as a direct qualifier for the World Cup. That journey has already begun with the Zambezi series helping the team get into shape. On Saturday, the Sables face Zambia in the second leg of the series in Lusaka. Now, after winning the first leg held at Harare Sports Club, 70-15, the Sables go into reverse fixtures as favourites. Let's talk more about this fixture with Ruvimbo Chakoreka. Good evening, Ruvimbo. How important is this Zambezi series fixture for the Sables?
Well, I think the importance of this particular game for the Sables is they must win. The expectation is for them to win. But other targets that they'll be looking at is to ensure that all of the local players that are playing in this Sables squad will be able to get a hit out, as Pete Bernardi loves to call it, but more importantly are able to punch their ticket into the final Sables squad that will travel to Uganda for the 2025 Rugby Africa Cup, which is also doubling as the 2027 Rugby World Cup qualifiers. Now, I think for squad depth, this match against Zambia will prove to be the ultimate test. We know that, yes, Zambia was well beaten when they came to Harare Sports Club, losing 70 points to 15, but I know that this will be a different kettle of fish for the Sable squad as they go into unfamiliar territory, especially for many of them that are trying to punch their ticket into that Sable.
Unfortunately, we're out of time, Ruvimbo, but thank you very much for that. That wraps up our news bulletin this evening. Thank you very much for watching. Good night from myself, Wazanai Sansole, and the crew behind the scenes.